And we already get to one that I'm not a big fan of. Hey guys, welcome back to some more reviews, and welcome back to the Hellraiser reviews. And today, we're going to be getting to the fourth film in the Hellraiser series, and I am already just... I'm not a fan of this one. I used to be. I used to like the movie. I wouldn't say I used to be a fan of the movie, but I used to watch the movie back in the day, and I think I may have done a review on this in Hellraiser 3, because I used to have a DVD pack of 3 and 4, so I might have reviewed the first 4 movies back then. Chances are the reviews are pretty crappy anyways, but I used to think this movie was decent when I was a little bit younger. I used to watch it and be like, oh yeah, it's decent, it's watchable. I'll say at least it feels like a Hellraiser movie. This is the last movie to actually feel like a Hellraiser film. The rest of the series, I don't know what the hell happened, but this is the last one to actually start and end and feel like a Hellraiser movie, to a degree. There are certain things in the movie that I feel are anything but Hellraiser, but today's review is going to be on Hellraiser Bloodline, which is right there. That little middle poster right there, Hellraiser Bloodline. And once again, out of this DVD pack, quick little story about this DVD pack. I know it says it has the prophecy in there, but when I went to go buy this pack, they couldn't find the prophecy collection. So I got this for free because they couldn't find the prophecy movies. And I was like, well, I would probably not watch Prophecy anyways. I was only going to get it for the Hellraiser movies. And they said, well, you can have it for free since we couldn't find the Prophecy movies. So people wondered, you paid money for the sequels? Technically, no. I was going to. I was going to have 11 films in one pack. And ended up not having the Prophecy movies in there. So I ended up getting it for free. So I ended up not paying for Hellraiser 3 through 8 because they couldn't find the Prophecy movies. But fun little story there. The Hellraiser Bloodline, this is the last studio release, like, theatrical film. And it came out in 1996 at a 5.2 on IMDb. I'm surprised it's not lower than that. I think a 5.2 is a little too high. I think it should be in the 4 range, personally. Now, it says here on IMDb, it's directed by Kevin Yeager. Now, Kevin Yeager, of course, that name is known throughout horror as... You know, he really helped out in a lot of films and special effects. And he's a fantastic makeup effects artist. He's a fantastic special effects artist. When the movie came out, it was listed as Alan Smithy. Now, Alan Smithy does not exist. That's a fake name. There was a lot of studio interference in this movie. This is an example of a film that studio interference killed this movie. This movie could have been, I feel, at least decent. It has decent things in it, but for me, where it fails is so much studio interference, and plus there's the outer space thing, which honestly didn't bother me before because I always thought Pinhead somehow fit outer space. I don't know what the hell I was thinking back then, because I'm watching it now and it looks silly as hell, mainly because most of the effects in the outer space sequences look cheap and the whole thing looked cheap. I don't know what it was about outer space movies back then, but they always looked cheap. Like, and people were like, what's the budget? Star Wars, the first Star Wars had a low budget, didn't look cheap. But Leprechaun 4 in space looked cheap. Jason X looked dirt cheap, and this looks dirt cheap. I don't know why they would try to do these space movies if they didn't have the money for it. But I'm pretty sure this movie had at least a decent amount of money. I mean, probably more than the next couple, the rest of the franchise does. But the thing with this movie is that it could have been decent. I could have liked the movie for the Bloodline aspect had it not been so messy, because I do like that idea. The story focuses on the toy maker, aka LeMay Lorchan, I think is the name of the I almost said the puppet master. The toy master, the toy maker. I think it's Lorraine Mouchon, something like that, and it's played by the same actor, Bruce Ramsey, who's our lead, and a lot of his dialogue felt dubbed. I don't know if it was like that or not, I'm not sure. I don't know, that's just how it was. A lot of his dialogue didn't feel like it was done there, it felt like it was dubbed on later. And you can definitely tell because there's a few lines that just don't, either they don't match what he's saying or it just doesn't sound like it belongs in the scene. And I like the Bloodline aspect. I mean, it's done with the toy maker LeMay Rochon. I'm pretty sure I'm not saying the name right, but it's not. I can't see it here on IMDb. But it's the toy maker. He makes toys. His wife is pregnant. Makes this configuration box. Part of me wishes they wouldn't go into the origin of the box because it takes away from the mystique, and I don't like it whenever we have something that's like, okay, maybe this box was made in hell. Maybe it was just a device made long ago, you know, eons ago, that was designed by hell and put here on Earth as a gateway to get to hell. Not really, as far as when it gets to the origin of this movie, it's like, well, really, it's a man-made thing, and it was basically these people doing dark magic and voodoo, and they used it to bring a demon to Earth, and she is kind of the demon, but she's also kind of their slave, and she'll do whatever they ask, except for if they get in hell's way. And the toy maker tries to stop them, he fails, gets killed by them, and you find that his bloodline is cursed. Now, how his bloodline is cursed? I guess because he made the box, automatically his bloodline is cursed, but the bloodline is cursed. And there's this demon, it's kind of a female demon. She decides to chase down his ancestor hundreds of years later, which takes place, because there's three timelines. There's the past, the present, and the future. The present storyline is in the 90s, and kind of going off of the ending of Hellraiser 3, where the configuration box was in the building, which they did nothing with in this movie. They just made an excuse to, oh, I can put the light in here, and that can stop the demons, and we can bring that in later in the film. I thought it would have been cool, because I kind of had an idea. I don't know if it's original, or like, I don't know if anybody else thought of it yet, but why not? You know, in Hellraiser 3, she put the configuration box in the cement, and it went into the building, right? In Hellraiser 3, the ending of the movie is a shot of the building with the configuration box everywhere. I don't know why they didn't just have it where the whole building is this giant puzzle, and you got to get out of it, and the Cenobites are going from room to room trying to kill everybody. And it's basically an escape movie. You got to get from, you know, certain floor of this building to the bottom floor and get out of there and close the box, you know, something like that. But they really didn't do anything with that in this movie. And the demon tries to seduce him. You also have a role here from, what's her name? From Kim Myers from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. She did good in that movie. She does pretty good in this movie too. It was cool seeing her again. And this modern day ancestor has a son, has a wife. Basically, that's when Pinhead comes in the movie, and he realizes that this toy maker's bloodline is cursed, and he's trying to, I guess, stop the current day ancestor of the toy maker. And it basically is a build-up to the ancestor dying by Pinhead. So he dies, the bloodline gets carried on, and then it's in the future, and it's on spaceships, and they got to figure out how to, once and for all, stop this bloodline curse and somehow kill Pinhead. Which gets a little messy when you get to there. But I can't say this movie is like one of the worst ones in the series. It's just one that I'll probably never watch really again. And it's an example of a movie like, you know, Kevin Yeager, I felt because the movie visually does look pretty good. I thought he shot it very well. Some of the gore effects are on point. I thought Kevin Yeager and the actors did the best they could with this movie. They did the best they could. The problem with this movie is studio interference, and for me, the other big problem is the outer space stuff. I really thought it was out of place in this movie. I kind of get where everybody's coming from now, and they say the outer space stuff is silly. I completely understand that. To kind of get into the positives and negatives real quick. Positives, Doug Bradley as Pinhead. You know, I am pain. Pain? How dare you use that word in front of me? You know, I love Doug Bradley's performance in this movie. He's intense. Pinhead is not a joke in this movie. He's taken very seriously. He gets a lot of kills. He gets a decent amount of screen time as well. So this is, I'll give that a plus. You know, he gets a lot of screen time. His kills are gory. He's a badass. He's not, you know, dumbed down or weakened in this movie, or he's not in the movie for 5 seconds. He's in the movie quite a bit. And when he's there, Doug Bradley's performance is on point. Like I said, the movie isn't shot particularly bad. It's just the outer space stuff, the space station stuff. That, to me, was where I got lost, because everything on the outer space part just felt like it was, like, rushed, because everything felt ADR'd as far as the dialogue, and everything felt stiff. The story became very unlinear when it came to the outer space part. There are certain points where you can tell the studio interfered in the story, because how did the toy maker, the present day, the 90s toy maker ancestor, how did he know that Pinhead was at his house? He just kind of goes there talking to the female demon. Somehow he knows that Pinhead's at his house. I didn't understand that. Or in outer space, how did he have enough time to set up that trap for Pinhead? Because Pinhead was literally right, and Pinhead was right there. He was literally right next to the toy maker, didn't kill him, just talked to him. And I'm like, your goal is to kill this man to continue the bloodline curse. You're right there. You have it. He's in the same room as him, and somehow the ancestor dude isn't freaking out, going, "Oh my God, can I die?" He just like, "Good evening, Pinhead." I'm just like, what the fuck? I didn't get that. And then somehow he has enough time in like 3 minutes to get out of the ship, set up a hologram, and do all this. I don't know how he did that. The ending, how do you kill Pinhead? Pinhead's a demon. And I get it, there's like, it was the light. That never gets explained, it never gets used again, never gets done ever again in the series. And I don't get how they killed Pinhead. Because I guess that is the canon death of Pinhead, because technically everything after Hellraiser 4 is a prequel if you think about it. So in the canon storyline, Bloodline's ending is the ending of Pinhead. At least from what I've seen so far, everything after Part 4 is technically is a prequel. Even though they don't really feel like Hellraiser movies. But I think I got off topic. I was going over the good and bad things. The good things, it's gory, it's bloody, the makeup effects are on point. Certain shots, certain cinematography, Kevin Yeager did the best he could. The acting was pretty decent at times. Not great, but I'd say pretty decent. They tried their best. I like the way that Pinhead's makeup is in this movie. I like the way his makeup looks. It just looks cool. I like the idea of like a chatterer demon dog. I like that. It was a practical effect as well. A lot of practical effects in the movie. I can definitely appreciate that. Death scenes are bloody. Things are gruesome. And as far as the problems go, there is just certain points in this movie where you could tell the studio interfered with the movie, and it really ruined this movie. You could tell. It just ages really poorly, because you could tell the studio really had their hands in this movie, and they changed everything around to a point to where Kevin Yeager didn't want his name on the picture. And it sucks, because this could have been a decent Hellraiser movie. Yeah, I wouldn't have liked the outer space stuff, but I could have dealt with it if everything else at least flowed good. The movie doesn't really flow very good. It's only an hour and 25 minutes. It's one of the shorter Hellraiser movies, probably the shortest, if I'm not mistaken. And it's boring. There are certain points where nothing's happening, and you're kind of waiting for Pinhead to come into the movie. You know, luckily when he does come, then he's in it pretty much throughout the rest of the movie. But you have Pinhead kidnapping the wife and the son. It felt weird that Pinhead would do that. Would he really do that? You know, there were just certain holes in the story. The female demon didn't really do much in the movie. She was a big character, but she didn't really do much in the movie. The music, the main theme song, I wasn't really a big fan of. It just sounded more, I don't know, dumbed down compared to the first 3 movie scores. I love the first 3 movies soundtracks and scores and music. Here, the music really isn't much. All of the outer space stuff to me is just bad. It just doesn't look good, doesn't sound good. It's not acted pretty. I'm not really. I think what it was maybe it was rushed. I'm not sure. I'm just saying honest opinion on that. The outer space stuff to me did not work. It's just overall a movie that I felt was really disappointing, and it could have been a lot more better than it was. And again, I can't sit here and say it's like worse than Deader or Hellseeker. Those movies are way worse than this, but Hellraiser Bloodline, not much of a good Hellraiser movie. It's kind of a lackluster one. Disappointing for me. But anyways, I'm going to give it probably a 4.5 out of 10, being generous. Anyways, thanks so much for watching the review. If you've seen Hellraiser Bloodline, let me know your guys' thoughts on the film in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for checking out the review. Hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you guys in the next movie review. Anyways, peace out, and have a good night.